Before removing the window, photographs are taken to document the original condition and scaffolding is securely erected. The safety of the workers, as well as the safety of the window, is of prime consideration. Inside the church, a plastic tent is built around the scaffolding to minimize the dust and debris. An elevation drawing, created in advance of the removal, is used to document the exact panel size, the location of support bars, and establish the labeling system to be used throughout the restoration. Prior to removal, a panel is labeled and stabilized to assure that all loose pieces are secured, preventing further damage or loss. Removing the panels begins by establishing how the window was originally installed, and then reversing the process. There is no standard method of installation, therefore experience is key. These panels were set into 1-inch stone grooves, which were filled with mortar rather than common sash putty on the interior and exterior. The wire ties are cut, allowing the support bars to be removed. The workers can now begin the slow process of removing the fragile glass. The rare use of mortar increased the risk of glass breakage and makes for a more complex removal. This difficult and tedious work requires skill and patience. The partial disassembly of each panel assured the least trauma to the historic glass. Using the most advanced equipment, the craftsmen at Stained Glass Resources rely on their experience and technical skills to remove all 56 panels without any further damage to the glass. After the panels are removed, they are prepared for transport. Glass that is damaged or loose is removed, labeled, and wrapped in a protective material. Once the glass is removed, the grooves are cleaned and exact measurements are recorded on the elevation drawing. Plywood templates are installed into each opening while the stained glass panels are being restored. After a thorough cleanup both inside and outside, the restoration work now shifts to the Stained Glass Resources studios. Stained Glass Resources has studios in Massachusetts and Pittsburgh. Here, dedicated craftsmen bring new life to Tiffany's work of art. The methods used by these experienced men and women are not very different from those used in Tiffany's studios over a century ago. Using carbon paper, a full-size rubbing of each panel is made, creating an exact imprint of all lead and copper foil edges. This is used as a reference during the assembly process and is also used to record information about individual pieces of glass. To perform a complete restoration, all glass is removed from the original lead and copper foil. Each piece of glass is handled delicately and placed on a layout board exactly as it was in the window. These windows have as many as 4 layers of glass. It is slow and exacting work. Pieces of damaged glass, no matter how small, are kept together so conservation work can be performed to restore their original shape. As the window is disassembled, all of the unseen damage, previous repairs, defects, and non-original pieces are now visible. After hours of meticulous work, the glass from one panel is now ready to be cleaned. The type of glass determines how the piece is cleaned. The process always begins with the least aggressive, water, natural brushes, and rags, and progresses toward the more aggressive methods that include solvents, stainless steel brushes, and razor blades. The method employed is based on a thorough understanding of the type of glass being cleaned and the debris being removed. Surface accretions are left undisturbed if their removal will risk harming the original glass. Over the past century, damage has come to this window in many ways, including an explosion which completely knocked out the center rows. Some of the glass was lost or destroyed. Fortunately, the craftsmen at Stained Glass Resources are committed to preserve and conserve as much of the original glass as their skills will allow. The techniques and materials they use vary as to the challenges presented. Most cracked or broken pieces can be conserved with conservation epoxy. Not only does this make the glass as strong or even stronger than original, the refraction index of this epoxy is close to glass, making the cracks seem to disappear in all but the most transparent pieces. In some cases, the epoxy is tinted or glass paint is used on the surface to soften and blend a flaw. The faces, hands, feet, and inscriptions of the window were originally hand-painted and fired in a kiln. Scratches or damage to small areas can be reclaimed with cold paint applied directly to the spot for touch-up. If a large area is missing or beginning to disappear, the lost image is reverse painted onto clear restoration glass and mounted on top of the original. This maintains the historic and aesthetic properties of the artwork and is reversible in the future should a better technique evolve. Unfortunately, some panels have been repaired with glass which was a poor match. Some pieces have been shattered, with many shards missing. In these situations, the goal is to find replacement glass to match the original. This involves searching the inventory of stained glass suppliers throughout North America. In some cases, Stained Glass Resources works directly with a foundry to create a custom batch to replace missing pieces. Stained glass windows are historic works of art which need detailed techniques to preserve them. All of the conservation methods and materials used are fully documented, with one eye on the past and the other to the future. If craftsmen in the 22nd century develop better techniques, they will be able to undo this work done in the 21st century on a window created by artists in the 19th century. Now that all the glass has been cleaned and conserved, the re-leading begins. The process of building a stained glass puzzle has remained the same for centuries. Using the rubbing as a template, each piece is methodically reassembled by hand. The new lead is alloyed with materials that provide greater structural strength and longevity than the original. Here, the feathers of an angel's wings are individually wrapped with copper foil, replicating the soft lines between the individual pieces of glass. To maintain the original design, it's important to use new lead cane, equal in size and shape to the original. In areas with multiple layers of glass, the lead channels must be customized. All joints and intersections of lead are soldered together, and the entire surface of all of the lead is tinned with solder. Using heat-controlled irons, a thicker application of solder is applied than what originally held the panel together. Later, when wire ties are attached, these new solder joints will provide more durable support.